arm. I can throw a jab, or I can throw a cross. The most important thing is to force him to take his weight off his lead leg, which can be done with either your lead or rear arm.
Ou usando o braço de trás, tirando a perna da frente. Ó.
Now we'll spar with my brother Shinzo using the techniques I demonstrated throughout this section. Punching is a fundamental part of karate. It is very important to pay special attention to the details because after you learn the movements involved, you will repeat them thousands of times. To start out, we will focus on the very basics. So stand with your feet roughly a shoulder's width apart and place your fists on your hips.
Inicialmente, a forma básica do movimento, ela começa com as duas mãos na cintura.
Next, extend your arms forward and rotate your fists so that your palms are facing the mat and your thumbs are facing one another. This rotation is very important because it dramatically increases the strength of your punches. When you strike your target, you want to do so using the knuckles of your index and middle fingers. Not only are these knuckles stronger, but it allows you to transfer energy down your arm, out your first two knuckles, and into your target.
Essa virada aqui é muito importante, o movimento básico. Por que no centro sempre? Porque se você fica assim,
it is also very important to strike toward the center of your opponent's body, not the outside.
Sem alvo.
The center is where all his vulnerable areas are.
Então aqui o centro.
Once you get comfortable extending both arms, rotating your fists so that your palms are facing the mat, and connecting with your imaginary target using the first two knuckles of your hand, practice throwing punches with one arm at a time. Just as before, you want to rotate your hand over just prior to striking your target to generate power on your punch and to minimize the damage you cause your hand. At the end of your punch, rotate your hand. The first punch I will show is Kazami-zuki, or the jab. This strike is executed with your lead arm. When throwing this punch, it is important not to let your elbow drift out to the side because your opponent will see the punch coming and defend against it. It is a straight punch and you want to keep your rear hand elevated to protect your face. To execute the jab, step your lead foot forward and extend your lead arm at the same time. If your opponent advances towards you, you can throw the jab without stepping forward to stop in his tracks, but you generate a lot more power when you combine it with a forward step. The forward step also helps you close the distance. The jab can be thrown to your opponent's mouth, his nose, and sometimes his chest. Here I demonstrate how to throw a fake punch with your rear hand in order to set up the jab. So I fake with my rear hand, then throw the jab. Now I demonstrate Gatsuki, or the cross.
Soco direto, golpe
This
baixo,
strike is thrown with your rear arm.
braço de trás. É muito
When throwing the
importante
cross, it is very important to
a girada
rotate
do
your
quadril.
hips. This
Mesma
helps
coisa,
generate
o
power.
cotovelo não abre.
Also, remember that your elbow should not drift out to the side.
Esse
You want to
golpe
keep it tight to your body to prevent your opponent from spotting the strike.
mas não pode se jogar. Porque
It is also very important to maintain your
sai o
base.
segundo golpe. Aqui não, você pode sair o segundo golpe.
When you throw this punch, you want to enter with your whole body. If you lean forward in order to land the punch, your balance will be compromised, making it very difficult to follow up with a secondary strike.
Pode ser na barriga também.
Again, don't lean forward or it will be hard to follow up with more strikes. Just as with the jab, you can throw the cross after leading with the fake. You can also throw the cross to your opponent's stomach. The cross can follow other strikes as well, such as a kick.
Então, esse golpe tem uma variação.
There are many ways to set up the cross.
A finta, ela pode partir de você. Você pode mexer a perna da frente.
You can set it up by throwing a low kick.
Entrar o golpe.
You can set it up by faking with the sweep.
Tocar com a de trás. Entrar o golpe.
The setup doesn't matter. What matters is that you throw the cross using the proper form.
Continuação.
Now I will show you Osuki, the strongest punch in karate. You throw the punch with your rear arm, but you do so as you step your rear leg forward.
Chama passo para frente andando.
Why is it the strongest punch?
Por que esse golpe?
Because you throw the strike with all of your weight moving forward. It's a difficult punch to land on your opponent because it's a very long strike. In order to pull it off, you need to recognize when you have the proper distance, and this takes a sharp mind.
Ele existe uma distância, mas essa distância ela pode ser.
If you don't have the distance to step forward, it's also possible to step your lead leg back and then step your rear leg forward to execute the punch. This allows you to use this technique even when you don't have enough distance between you and your opponent.
Mesma coisa.
Here's the alternate punch. The two variations are the same punch, but you change your footwork due to the distance between you and your opponent. With the normal punch, there is a good deal of distance between you and your opponent. With the alternate punch, there is less distance.
Encaixar na distância do golpe. Esse golpe
The target for this punch can be your opponent's nose, mouth, whatever you want. It's a strong punch that will cause damage no matter where you land. It is important to keep your opposite arm up for protection. Always keep that arm up. This punch is a finisher, but because you have to cover so much distance, the best time to use it is when your opponent is tired. If he isn't tired, then you really have to push off quickly to cover the distance and land with your target.
pode ser pouco, ele utilizar pouco mais perto.
You can throw this punch from closer, but you have to use the alternate version in order to land.
Normal.
This is a punch that really requires an explosion. If you aren't explosive in your movements, then it won't be effective.
Pode partir de uma finta.
As with the other strikes, you can set up this punch by leading with a different technique. This technique is called Moashi Suki, or a hook.
Chama.
Here I show you how to throw the strike with your lead arm. It is important not to do a haymaker punch.
Conhecido no boxe.
If you throw your arm out to the side, your opponent will see it coming and defend against it. Even though the punch approaches its target from the side, you don't want to throw your arm backward to generate
Dá
power.
uma virada.
Now